Hi everybody, Alex Deployer from Expert Forex, and in today's video I'm going to show you what to do if your EA is not trading. Now we're getting lots of comments by our testers on the forum saying, oh, my EA is not trading, what's going on, am I doing something wrong? Well, I'm going to take you step by step through a checklist that you can use to determine whether your EA should in fact be trading. Remember, the EA will not be able to trade if it doesn't identify entry conditions. So let's just work through the checklist. The first thing to look for is a smiley face. So I'm trading the make money EA here. I've got a smiley face there, which means the EA is in fact active. Normally you have to have auto trading ticked and it should be green. The other thing that will prevent you from having a smiling face is if you don't have allow live trading and allow DLL imports. That's normally another reason why you won't have a smiley face. And the other reason could be in your general setup when you go to tools, options, and you go to expert advisors tab. Make sure that you allow auto trading, allow DLL imports. Those have to be ticked for things to work properly. So all right, so we've covered the first item. You have to have a smiley face. Second condition, you have to be open on the chart that the EA is supposed to run on. So in other words, I'm running on the pound yen 1 minute chart, and that's the chart the EA is running on. The default when you load a chart is a 60-minute chart, and a lot of people don't change the 60 minutes to 1 minute. So there's another item to check if you are not getting trade. Then the next item is to understand how the EA works. Now this particular EA works with 3 indicators, and the EA also has a few restrictions on whether the EA should be opening a trade or not. So let's work through that very systematically. Now, as you can see, I have my EA loaded. It is on a live. I'm not testing it, actually. I'm trading it on a live account. I'm trading one of the set files that are supplied to the testers. I'm actually trading a lot of the set files that have been supplied to the set testers because I've got tremendous confidence in those particular set files. So I am trading a lot of them live. This is one of them. And if we go through the information that's shown on the EA information table, you will see that it uses an SMA of 10 and an SMA of 12. So the first thing to do is load those indicators on your chart. Now, I don't particularly like black and white, black and green charts, so I'm going to actually firstly change my chart. So here I go. I'm going to go to properties. So I'm going to change the properties here, and the first thing I do is I go to black on white, and then bull candles, which will be blue, and bear candles will be red. And now we've got more conventional charts. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's more conventional. Then let's start loading the indicators. Now, this is important that you understand how the EA works. Otherwise, if it's not taking trades, you'll never know whether the entry conditions have been met. So first of all, let me load the SMAs that are present, that they want. So that would be moving average, and they want a 10. And I'll keep it as red would be fine. Okay, and it goes. Then the other SMA needs to be 12. So I go again, the trend indicators, and I'm going to load the 12. And I'll change the color just to make sure that it's that we understand the difference. So how are these indicators used to determine trading signals? Now, if you've watched the video that's supplied with the EA, you will know that both of them have to be pointing in the same direction. So if one's pointing up and the other one's pointing down, no trade. So for instance, over that period there, they're both pointing up, so that over that period the entry conditions are being met. Just increase the size, give you a little bit more of a... So when the one is pointing down and the other one's pointing up, no trade can be taken. Then the next condition is the ADX must be 30 and above the 35 line. Now, the ADX indicator needs to be loaded on the... So it's a bit confusing. The ADX indicator is actually the average directional movement index, so that's what it's called. It needs to be set up to have a 30 period. And I'm going to give that maybe a red again. 30 period, and it needs a level of 30. So I'm going to add the level of 30, and I'm going to give that a blue color, and I'm going to just make that a little bit bigger, easier to see, and that one also a little bit easier to see. So we load them up, and the other thing we don't want to see, there are other indicators in this one, the D1 and the D2. We don't want to see them, so I'm going to just make them white, the same color as the chart, so then I don't see them, because otherwise they confuse. So that's how you set the ADX indicator up, and you say OK, and there it loads. So now let me explain how this one works. The EA will only trade if that red line is over the blue line. That's in very simple terms. In Forex terms, it means that the indicator will only trade if there's a strong trend occurring. So there, for instance, it almost did, and that's how this indicator works. So there are two main conditions. The two MAs must be pointing in the same direction, and the ADX must be over the setting that's determined by the ones you're using. In this case, I'm using 30. So as you can see, there are no trades that qualify within that period we're looking at now. The ADX has never crossed the line. So very important that you understand the entry criteria, because then you can say, hang on, the entry criteria have been met, and why didn't it trade? Then let's have a look at some of the other areas that could disqualify a trade. Now, there is a setting called the maximum spread setting. That says to the EA, don't open a trade if the spread is too big. So I have it set at the moment, and you can see the setting here. The spread I've it currently set for 10. So if the spread goes over 10, the EA will not trade, and the current spread is 4.3. Now you can see there's an error message over here that says that entries have been suspended because the spread was over 10 pips. Very important one. So in spite of the MAs pointing in the same direction, this one being over the top, if the broker has increased the spread tremendously, the EA will not trade. So you've got to put a value in there that makes the EA trade. I put 10, it's a bit high, but that's fine. Now, if you want more information about your spread, then you go down here and you see, oh, the current spread is 4.7, the average is 5, but the maximum was 32.3. So that is why you need that setting. You can't open a trade at 32.3. You're going to blow your account if you trade those kind of trades. So very important setting to check. The next disqualifying setting is this one. Only trade between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock. There we go. And you can trade any of the days of the week, but only trade 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So now, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mark the time. So I'm expecting trades to happen from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So let's scroll back and find that period. Okay, there's 12 o'clock. So there's 10 o'clock, and this is the period during which the EA was told to trade. Okay, so now I've just found the reason why there were no trades yesterday on my account. ADX was never over the blue line. It went over the blue line at 12 o'clock, and too late then, the EA will not trade. So there's the explanation. It would have traded while the ADX was over 30. In this particular area here, it would have traded should the MAs be pointing in the same direction. It would have taken those trades. But now I know why my EA hasn't traded, because there were no qualifying trades during that period. Very important that you put the indicators and put the restrictions on the chart. So the next thing to do is always check your error messages, and don't just see an error message, oh, got an error message, read it. Just read the error message. Listen to what it's saying to you. We've designed our EAs to actually tell you the error message, tell you why it's happened, and also create a solution to the error. Now, in this time, this is actually not an error message. It's just communicating to you, saying, I've suspended trades because of higher. It's just communicating. It's not an error, because it isn't an error. The EA is just following instruction. So then the last thing you can do if you still have errors is you could look at the journal. And you click on the terminal, you click on journal, and you look at the journal to see if there are any errors that have occurred. And I'll just open this up a little bit more. And a lot of it, a whole lot of complicated stuff. But in general, it will tell you, it will have a red there saying, here's a problem. No, that's loaded successfully. So far, I haven't had any problems. The DILs have been pinged and all that kind of thing. So everything is going fine with my account. If there's a problem on the account, you could normally find it in the journal. Now, I hope this has helped you. As I say, don't panic when things happen. Just systematically go through the checklist that I've just given you. If you still have a problem, contact EA Factory, because there could be a technical reason why there's a problem. Or if you need explanation of the journal, also contact EA Factory to resolve that. EA Factory supports this EA from a technical point of view. So if you suspect anything technically wrong with the EA, then contact them. If you suspect something of a trading nature is wrong, then contact Expert Forex. That's how our EAs are supported. I hope I've given you some ideas on what you can do if your EA is not trading. So from me, Alex Deploy, cheerio.